Thank you. Folks, first of all, welcome to the Rockshore Hotel for it truly will be an amazing night, the Liverpool Legends. Right, folks, we're about to kick off, and then hand over to the legend yourself, Mr. David Johnson. Very round of applause, folks.
Right, first of all, anyone recognise me? Fucking changed, haven't I? Gone to black hair, moustache, nothing in those days, ladies and gents. And sometimes when you come to a function like this, and you stand up, and people look at you and say, well, where the fuck's David Johnson? It gets a bit embarrassing. But I'm just going to kick this off before we get into the food, so we can just see the standard of the evening. Sometimes, not being recognised can get embarrassing. About 2 years ago, great goalkeeper for Liverpool in England, Ray Clements, boys, fuck off. Great goalkeeper for Liverpool and England, Ray Clements, phoned me up and he said, Jono, do you fancy 5 days over in Spain? Charity golf, it'll be a great opportunity to all get together again, have a few beers, more importantly, raise some money for a charity. Do you fancy it? Well, who'd say no to 5 days away with all the lads? Well, I live in a place called Haydock. And for those of you that don't know where it is, it's halfway between Liverpool and Manchester. The way to get to Manchester Airport is via the M6, M56 motorway. I've ordered a cab. Through the clubs and the back, in the back of the boot, in the back of the car, jumped in the back of the car, and as he's pulled away, I could see the taxi driver looking at me in his rearview mirror. Well, I'm a nice lad, I give him a big smile, thumbs up, all right, mate. We're on the M6, sorry, on the M6. I can see him looking at me again. All right, pal. We're on the 56, he's looked at me for the 3rd time. I'm thinking, he's recognised me, must be a fan. Tapped him on the shoulder and, yeah, mate, it's me. We're coming off the slip road going to Manchester Airport. And he's finally said something. He said, come on then, give me a clue. I said, David Johnson, ex-Liverpool, Everton, England International, 18 medals, 3 European Cups, 4 League Championship, 3 League Cup, 2 Super Cup, FA Cup, 4 Championship Shields and a World Championship. He said, stop fucking about, what terminal? You all know why we're here. We're trying to raise money for the, what is it? The Antrim Milk Cup for under 15s and 17s. There have been some great players who've come through this competition, and we hope, the likes of David Beckham, you know, Giggs, Scholes, all that. Well, that's Ronnie to come up with us now. We've done the introduction, you know who I am, you know who Ronnie is. And so what we're going to do, instead of getting up, Ronnie and myself are both after dinner speakers, and we thought it was a bit stupid that we both play for the same football, and we're going to come up and talk about the same thing. So we're going to do a little bit different, okay? I'm going to interview Ronnie, alright? And hopefully, he'll make you fucking laugh. Okay, Ronnie, when you were a kid, did you honestly think you were going to end up at Liverpool?
I do have to be very honest. No. Liverpool was the last team in England that I ever thought I'd play for or ever really wanted to play for. Because as a kid, growing up in Dublin in the 60s, like most kids growing up in Dublin in the 60s, there was only one team I ever really wanted to play for, and that was Manchester United. Hang on, let me explain. My dad took me to a game in Dublin when I was 6 years of age. It was a League of Ireland select team versus Manchester United. It was the great Manchester United team in the 60s, the team that 2 months previous had won the European Cup against Benfica at Wembley. Now my dad was also an Irish international, he got two caps for the Republic of Ireland. And he knew the two full backs playing for Man United that night, two Irish lads, Shea Brennan and Tony Dunn. They got me into the dressing room before the game, and I was introduced to, amongst others, George Best, Dennis Law and Bobby Charlton. From that day I became a Man U fan. From that day was my ambition to play for Manchester United. Can you imagine then how excited I was at 13 years of age? A Man United scout turned up at my door in Dublin and invited me over to Old Trafford for trials. I spent 2 weeks training at Manchester United, and I must have impressed somebody, because Man United offered me an apprenticeship when I was 15. I, along with my dad, thought I was a little bit too young to leave home at that time. Stayed on to finish school in Dublin. Still held on to that ambition that one day I would play. Maybe even one day I would score for Manchester United. It took me 22 years from the day I'd met my heroes, Best, Law and Charlton, but in 1989, I finally realised one of my childhood ambitions. And I scored for Manchester United. At Old Trafford, in the Stretford End. Now the only downside of that was I was playing for Liverpool that afternoon. But still, I'm really, really proud of that goal, because I still hold the distinction of scoring the greatest own goal ever seen at Old Trafford. Long ball was played out of United's defence. Out of the way by Liverpool centre-back Glenn Hussein. I latched on to about 25 yards from goal, and I played a delightful right foot half volley. Sailed over the goalkeeper's head into the top of the net. Magnificent goal, honestly, whatever way you want to look at it. But I have seen that goal many times since on DVDs and videos. Still can't blame myself 100% for that goal. On the day with the 6'3" goalkeeper standing on his line when the ball dipped in over his head, but luckily it didn't matter. John Barnes got a couple that day. We won the game 2-1 at Old Trafford, so all the Liverpoolians were happy. I was delighted I'd finally done it. I'd scored for Manchester United. And Bruce Grobbelaar was ecstatic. He had 10 grand on the 2-1. But it was Liverpool I ended up in 1979. I remember I'm in a taxi heading to Anfield with my dad. And I'm 17 years of age, just coming up to 18. And I turned to my dad and I said, Dad, why am I doing this? I said, take a look at Liverpool's first team squad. I'm never going to get for Liverpool. Let me go back to Dublin, I'll play a little bit more League of Ireland and see what happens. My dad said, we're here, we may as well go and see them. Eventually I ended up at Anfield, and I told the lady on reception I was there to see Bob Paisley. While she was away looking for Bob, I had a stroll around the reception area in Anfield, and there was pictures of past great Liverpool teams lifting FA Cups, European Cups, League Champions. If you could imagine how a 17-year-old would feel, I was completely overawed, scared to death of everything that was happening. Then at the bottom of the corridor, I seen him walking towards me. In his old green cardigan down to his knees, the slippers with the holes in the toes. The man I will always say was the greatest manager that ever lived. Mr. Bob Paisley was coming towards me. Now after Bob spoke to me, I'm sure he must have gone back into his office and thought to himself, well, what the fucking hell am I signing here? Because Bob came up and he said hello to my dad. He turned to me and he said, hello son, welcome to Liverpool Football Club. He said, how'd you get across from Ireland today? Did you come by boat or plane? I was so overawed in his company, I said, I'm not sure, Mr. Paisley. My dad had the tickets. Pretty Irish, you know.
Right, okay, ladies and gentlemen. Myself, I mean, I think you can tell by the accent, Scouse there, born and bred. And I was taught to play football by my brother, oldest brother. I was taught to support Liverpool Football Club by my next brother. And I went to Anfield, stood on the cop as a kid, and then signed for Everton. I mean, I just don't fucking know what happened there, to be honest. But I played for Liverpool schoolboys, we won in the school trophy, joined Everton, went through the B team, A team reserves, first team, got to a great start, scored on my league debut, FA Cup debut, European Cup debut, League Cup debut. But what probably established me is first derby game in front of 68,000 at Goodison, to score the only goal against Liverpool at the Gladys Street End, to score in the derby debut is something special. And then moved on to Ipswich, and then had the dream come true for me in 76, sorry, joining Liverpool. Because it was a roundabout way, but I got to play for the team. Now, have a look at the lads. Just excuse me for a minute, girls, I'm not going to leave you out, but I don't care whether you support Liverpool, Everton or Man United, it doesn't matter. How many of you on a Saturday have wondered what it's like to go in that dressing room and put the kit on? If you all wondered and you've thought to yourself, you've all dreamt of doing that, even when you stood on the cop or stood on the terraces, you've wondered what it's like to come on a match day and touch that sign. How many of you dreamt of going out on a full Anfield when they sing You Never Walk Alone? Come on, interact then. Has anyone dreamt of doing that? How many of you want to get on the Anfield pitch and play? How many of you dreamt of scoring a goal at the Cop end and running away and having the cop shout your name? Have you dreamt of that? Me and him have done that. And I'm telling you, better than the fucking dream. It's the reality of doing it. And there's not that many that do it. And we're so proud to be here representing our football club and having so many people sit down and listen to us. Ronnie, obviously, you came and you just said you wasn't sure about joining Liverpool. What was playing in your first debut? How did that happen?
It took me a long while to get in the first team. About 18 months it took me to get into the first team. And it kind of got pretty weird, to be fair. It was Friday night, 1981. Friday night game against Stoke City. The game was on the Friday night because the Grand National was on the Saturday. We used to play Friday night, Saturday mornings back then. But I had not been involved with the first team squad all week, so I didn't think I was going to be involved. So I decided to go to Antrim on the Thursday with a lad I was in digs with called Kevin Sheedy, who later went on to play for Everton. And me and Sheedy drank all day at the races, and then after the races we went down to Liverpool and had a few more pints. When I eventually got back to my digs that night, the landlady was waiting up, and she said, "The club have been looking for you all day. You have got to report for training tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock. Bring your suit because you're going on to the hotel after the training and then straight onto the game that night." As I say, for 18 months I'd been desperate to play for Liverpool. But that night in bed I remember just praying and hoping that I would be the odd man out in the squad. You know, the one they bring along in case somebody gets ill at the last minute. Everything was going according to plan till an hour before kick-off. And I seen Bob walk across the dressing room towards me. And he handed me the number 5 jersey of Ray Kennedy, who just failed the fitness test. And he said, "You're playing left side midfield, all the best." I was 19 years of age, and I went back and sat down in my place and looked around the dressing room at the players I was about to play with. Ray Clements was still in goal, Phil Neal, Phil Thompson, Alan Kennedy, Alan Hansen, Doug Leach, Souness, Johnson, McDermott. And I said, I can't do this. I'm not good enough to be in a dressing room with these players, let alone go and play a game on Anfield with them. But my dad said to me before I left home, he said, "Ronnie, when you go away," he said, "the better the player you play with, the better the player you will become." Now I had half a chance here because I'm playing with some of the greatest players in the history of Liverpool Football Club. But they weren't just good players, they were good people. And they always tried to look after the young kids coming into the team. They looked after me so well, in fact, that after 20 minutes that night, I latched onto a through ball from Sammy Lee, run through 40 yards on goal, touched under the Stoke goalkeeper to score on my Anfield debut. And after the game I said to myself, that's it. I've enjoyed this too much. 19 years of age or not, I'll do everything possible to stay in this football team. I'll stay in every night. I'll train hard every day. I'll stop drinking, shagging. Well, I'll train hard every day. But all the next week I'm back in the first team squad, and I must be impressing people because once you're in the squad and you're impressed, they keep you in that squad. Thursday was always our hardest day. I do my training on the Thursday, go back to my digs in the afternoon. I'm sitting there with my feet up, getting ready for the big game on the Saturday. And the phone goes in the digs, and the landlady comes in and says, "Your dad is on the phone." My dad had missed my debut. He said, "Ronnie, I missed your debut, but I will not miss the next game." He said, "I'm coming over Saturday for the game." He said, "I need some tickets. I'm with a couple of lads." I said, "Dad, all I can do is go see Bob after training on the Friday, explain the situation, and see what he says." I went into Bob's office on the Friday after training. I explained the situation about my dad missing my debut. I said, "Look, Gaffer, he's coming over Saturday." I said, "Is it possible I can have a couple of extra tickets?" And Bob said, "How many do you need?" And I said, "Well, is it possible I can have 4? And Bob said, "I tell you what, you can have 5. You can sit with him. You're not fucking playing." 45 minutes. played centre midfield, never fucking moved. And they slaughtered them at half-time. They said, we've done enough now, we've tried all we can for you. You have now got to help yourself. You've got to go back out second half and do better. To be fair to Jan, he did go back out second half and he did do better. The circle got a little bit bigger. And they left him on for as long as they could for fitness reasons, but with 15 minutes to go, assistant manager at the time, Ronnie stands up by the dugout, and we can all hear him shout onto the pitch, Jan! Hey Jan! Get warmed up, you're coming off.
John Berry came into Belfield, into the changing room, and he used to have this running banter with Neville Southall, well, the most goalkeeper, goalkeeper. And he used to turn around to Neville, say, Neville, how many caps have you got for Wales? At that time he had 90. He said, 90, John. He said, not with a carrot. He said, one England cap was worth 90 of your fucking World squads. And with that, Neville said, but John, you've only got an England B cap. You haven't even played for the full England. And with that, he jumped up in the middle of the changing room. He said, it doesn't matter when you've got that white shirt on with the 3 lions and you play the national anthem. And he closed his eyes, stood to attention, and went, dun, 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 dun. Now we all laughed, because that's the story. Jason McAteer is sat next to Steve McMahon, and McMahon looked at him and went, you didn't fucking get that, did you? And Jason said, I did. So he said, well, what are we laughing at then? He said, he's only got an England B cap. Sorry, I tell you, I'm going to tell you this one. Does anyone think the football's gone a bit mamby-pamby? Yes. Yeah, it's got a... They go to ground far too easy. I mean, when we played, we used to laugh at them. You know, it was much of a foreign thing that, you know, and they'd roll over on the ground and, you know, do somersaults and then they'd be like that looking for blood and there's no blood. It's fucking embarrassing, isn't it? To be honest. Don't we all look forward to the days when it was a 50-50 challenge and you had 2 committed players going, both crunching into a tackle and you see them get up and shake it off. That was football as well. It's great to see the skill, but it, you know, the art of tackling as well was part of it. And people ask me, because I was a number 9, I was centre forward, who's the hardest player you've ever played against? Well, every week there was someone trying to kill you. You know, I mean, there was 2 of them, 2 centre-halves, and they were given at least 5 goals before the referee would come over and say, now, boys, now, that's your last warning. But let's have to 5 goals at you. I played against the likes of David Mackay. I mean, big, hard, tough, unfortunately we lost it now. Roy McFarlane from Derby County, good player, but a hard player. Paul McGrath, John McGrath from Southampton and Newcastle. Dennis Smith from Stoke, Norman Hunter from Leeds. Every week, tough. I played against Tommy Smith in the Blue of Ipswich, so I can remember this game at Anfield, and I was playing for Ipswich, and I'd knocked the ball past Smithy, just past the halfway line. He's tried to hack me down, he's missed me, I've got to the byline and crossed the ball at the Anfield Road end, and it's just drifting out for a goal kick. Well, I've turned around, and I'm starting to jog back, and Tommy Smith's still coming this way. And the referee was George Courtney, Northeastern referee. And as Smithy's got level with me, George was still over there. Smithy's leant into me and said, I'm going to break your fucking back. So I've turned to George and said, do you hear what he's just said, George? He said, yeah, but I think he was talking to you. About 10 minutes later, it's a 50-50 challenge between me and Smithy. Well, I know he's going to go 6 inches over the ball. I've gone 12, and I've hit him just below the kneecap, and he's stayed down. And I know he's there because he wouldn't stay down. George Courtney, who stood again about 5 yards away, run away another 20 yards and said, come here. I thought, you big-headed bastard. So I walked over to him, he's got his book out, he said, name. I said, do you know who I am, George? Name. David Johnson. Address. I said, what do you want me address for? He said, I want to send you a bottle of whiskey, I fucking hate it. He's made his name in mimicking great players and people in sport. I'm sure you've seen him on TV. He's also an actor. Can you please put your hands together? Darren.
Gentlemen, thank you for that wonderful reception. First of all, can we have a big round of applause for these two legends that we've seen tonight? Well, we've spoke to David Johnson and Ronnie Whelan. We're going to bring a couple more very big personalities from the world of football to this room right now, okay? First of all, we're going to speak to a man who spent 6 glorious months as manager of Liverpool, now ruining English football in general, ruining everyone's life in the process. Mr. Roy Hodgson is the first person I want to speak to. Roy Hodgson is with us now, and Roy, it's got to be said, a very disappointing World Cup, very, very disappointing World Cup. England, very disappointing, losing games, didn't win a game. It was really poor. So you're very lucky to keep your job, Roy. I mean, do you honestly believe you are the right man to lead England into Euro 2016?
But of course, you know, there's always tough because of course you know we've got tough guys and we have tough guys, but to be like, we have some wonderful young players. We do. We have Wayne Rooney, you know, we have Whelan Sterling, you know, we Wash Boggy, you know, we have some wonderful young players. We're very confident, you know, very confident we can go on to do some very big things in the future. I believe that, you know, I do believe in, you know, the future and things like that. But you know, it's very difficult. It's going to be very difficult. We've got a couple of big games coming up. We've got a couple of very difficult games coming up. You know, we've got a difficult friendly coming up against Poland at Wembley, which will be tough with Poland having the fucking home advantage.
Thank you very much, thank you. Well, we're going to move on and we're going to speak to a man, well, just recently out of work, Mr. Harry Redknapp joins us now. Harry Redknapp. And Harry, QPR, you know, we're hearing rumours it ended on a bad knee. I mean, can you give us the real reason, Harry, that you finished at QPR? Are you happy with the way it ended at QPR, Harry?
Fantastic club, fantastic, terrific, fantastic. QPR's terrific. QPR's terrific, professional, yeah. It was fantastic, top, remember that? Fantastic, top, breath of fresh air, fantastic club. It was a terrific club, fantastic. Listen, QPR were fantastic. When I left QPR, they gave me £5 million payoff. £5 million payoff. Which was fantastic because after tax that works out about £8 million. It's difficult. QPR was a fantastic club. It's terrific, top breath of fresh air. You know, it's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. But QPR was a top club. You know, and everyone knows what QPR stands for. Quality players ruined.
Thank you very much. Harry Redknapp, thank you very much, guys. Thank you. And finally, we're going to speak to another Liverpool legend, a man now working for Sky Sports as a pundit. Mr. Jamie Carragher joins us now. Jamie Carragher. And Jamie, it's now working for Sky Sports. Can we have an analysis of the Premier League season, please, Jamie? Just in a few words again, as clear as you can, please, Jamie. I think my son is from the season, second reputation, second season, fall. I think she's going back. I think my son from Sudan. She said, Liverpool behind Arsenal. Back, forward, back, machine, the corner, if you keep rolling. Don't see nothing to that. So, I don't think it can be any more clear than that. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you. Thank you very much. I just want to say a big thank you for everyone that's turned up for the lads and that tonight. It's really appreciated. Obviously, the money's going towards a great cause, so it's fantastic. So I hope you all have a great night. Enjoy the rest of your night, and once again, thank you for coming. Cheers, guys.